Hello, everyone, and welcome to the wrestling experience. Tonight, lad, we're going to give you the wrestling experience. We're going to give you some wrestling experience tonight, and we're going to talk about some wrestling news. We're going to talk about some dynamite. I have a story on Seth Rollins. All of that tonight. All of that tonight. Here on the wrestling experience. Thank you all for watching. It's another Thursday, and you've landed. You've landed on that great mothership. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you've landed on the wrestling experience. Welcome aboard. Hop on and enjoy the ride. All right, everyone, welcome back to the wrestling experience. My name is Earl Cole. Please make sure that you hit that like button. You smash that like button. And of course, you give that button a tsunami. Give it a bear hug. Give it an attitude adjustment. Whatever you got to do, just do that. Just hit that like button. We greatly appreciate it. Thank you all so much for watching tonight. And of course, it's always Thursday. And I always like sitting down and talking wrestling news with you. Also, talk all the kind of topics here in the wrestling experience. Um, so let's just get into it, shall we? Um, Seth Rollins. Let's talk about Seth Rollins for a second. Seth Rollins recently says on the Bobby Bones Sports podcast, Seth Rollins sadly admits his body is starting to break down and matches are becoming more difficult. The older I get, the longer I do it. You don't get used to it. There's probably a period in my late 20s where I could have wrestled every single night and I would like a brand new and I was like brand new the next day. Those days have come and gone for Seth Rollins. Now after every match it takes me longer to get out of my gear. It become very difficult for me to move once I have stiffened up after a little while. So Rollins is admitting that he's getting older. And the bumps that he takes in the ring is starting to take a toll on him. Well, you know something, as I said before, I say it again. Wrestling is not ballet, folks. It's just not. You go through your body goes through so much rigorous maneuvers and bumps and your body was not made for that. That's not what your body is made for. Um, and after a while, after taking those bumps, your body starts to betray you. It does. It starts to betray you. You wake up one morning and oh my gosh, it feels like you've been ran over a few hundred times because it's a lot. To be a wrestler, it's a lot. A lot of you don't understand what it takes to be a wrestler. As long as if you've never been trained, or you've never been to a wrestling school, or you've never been a student of the game, you really can't understand what a wrestler goes through. You really can't, because these people, these guys and girls, they rehearse these bumps, but those things can accidentally go wrong. They can go haywire. Look at Big E. Look what happened to Draws. Look what happened to so many. Look what happened to JD McDonough. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on and on. And you all need to understand that these people they take hellacious rides through ladders, through tables, just to entertain you. And it's just you have to understand that they're human and their body cannot withstand all those things and all the surgeries that they need to have and all the medications and the physical therapy and everything else. So I want you all to understand, and I hope you understand that these people take bumps and they take hellacious bumps just for you, just for your entertainment purposes. But the backside of it, things can go horribly wrong. Look at Owen Hart and so forth, and so many other wrestlers that have gone through those curtains only to have their careers ended. Some of them have their careers ended in one match because something went horribly wrong with the bump. I mean, it's just paramount. It's paramount. It's universal. I understand what it. I understand that wrestlers, you know, take hellacious. They go through hellacious things. And Rollins right now, I don't know how long Rollins is going to do this. I don't know how long Rollins is going to do this. Um, to go through that, I don't want to wish that on anybody. You know, when you wake up in the morning and you can't outstretch your legs, or you can't sit up, or you can't dress yourself. That's not a life. That's not a life. And that's what some of these wrestlers go through after many years on being in the business. Some of them need assistance to walk around. Some of them need walkers. Matt and Jeff Hardy are a prime example. Look how they walked to the ring and barely could move with all the stuff that they put their bodies through. So I don't know, guys. I don't know what to tell you. But Rollins doesn't have from the sounds of it. Rollins doesn't have too much left in the gas tank. Could he be the next one to come on television and say that's it? We're gonna have to see. We'll have to see about that. Daniel Berry to sports. How's it going tonight? We're gonna have to see tonight. All right. So so that's the story of Rollins. That's the story. All right. All right. Booker T says on his HOF podcast. This is from Booker T. Booker T said this. Booker T says, and I quote, Booker T warns AEW that if they don't start planning better, the company could be going under soon. I I could tell you back when I was in WCW and things were just running. Everybody thought everything was good just because we were on TV. AEW had better think about what's next. You better be thinking about the future. You could wake up one day and it could all be over. A promoter told me a long time ago, you you just can't set up tent and do wrestling. I agree with this. I agree with what Booker T is saying here about AEW. And I'm gonna jump off of that. I'm gonna jump off of that. And let's talk about certain things that AEW is doing right now that I'm not agreeing with. Now listen, I'm gonna tell you all something. I'm gonna say this. And I'm gonna be as honest as I can possibly be honest, Abe. I have taken WWE and AEW to the woodshed many times over on different topics. I have. I'm not a one sided individual. Okay. I I see things from perspectives and I see things from a fan's perspective. And I'm just like you. I'm just a fan, just like you are. Just like every red blooded American in this country who is a wrestling fan. Okay? I'm a wrestling fan for over 3 decades. Okay? I invest my time, my energy, my money, and into wrestling. Okay? And because I have an opinion on a certain wrestling brand, it doesn't mean that I'm a WWE shrill, or it doesn't mean that I'm only a WWE. No, I want to see AEW succeed. But here's the problem. Here's the problem. If they have flaws and they have something going on, Wesley, how's it going? Smash that like button. If they have a problem, if AEW has a problem, then I'm going to address it. I'm going to address it. I'm going to bring it out and I'm going to address it because that's what I do. I'm an informist. You can't hate an informist. Don't hate the messenger. Don't hate the messenger. Don't be nasty. Don't be mean. I'm just an informist. And I'm here to tell you that I, as a wrestling fan, and then as an investor in wrestling, have to I have to bring out the good and the bad. Now, AEW in the beginning was red hot. They were red hot. I have been to 17 AEW events in my lifetime. Okay? I've been to 17 of them. And I love it. I love it. I love the fans. I love the atmosphere. I love the way they do it. Well, they don't play the music anymore in the arena like they used to. They took that out of the element, but you're still getting a good time. But then there are times Tony Khan does things that are head scratchers. And it's just that I have to bring those head scratching things out and spark a debate and spark a discussion. That's what I do. That's my job. I can't sugarcoat that AEW is perfect. No, they're not. And neither is WWE. Both companies are not good at times. And like I said before in the beginning of this conversation, I have taken them both to the woodshed. All right. So here's my opinion on what Booker T is saying. I agree with what Booker T said. I wholeheartedly agree with what Booker T said. Because I'll give you an example. Grand Slam Australia. Logistically, AEW dropped the ball terribly. Didn't plan for the event, didn't book the cargo plane needed to bring the ring into the country, didn't do the things right that was supposed to be done, and they dropped the ball. What did they do? They had to scramble, and thanks to Kyle Fletcher, who knows people in Australia with an independent wrestling circuit, they had to get their ring and bring it into the arena and set it up. That's why when you looked on TV, it looked so small. It wasn't the original AEW ring at all because they couldn't bring it into the United States. So they dropped the ball with that. Then, mistake number two, Tony Khan went there and couldn't sell out the stadium that he promised. How embarrassing is this for AEW? Two strikes against AEW with this Grand Slam Australia. So the show was good. It was solid for what it was. It was good for what it was. I'm not gonna bash the show. But behind the scenes stuff, that was ridiculous. That was ridiculous. And when he came on stage, and here's another terrible thing. When he came on stage, the crowd booed the crap out of him. He wasn't giving that warm Aussie feeling. So I don't want you all to come at me or come after me because I have an opinion. Now, if you disagree with me, that's fine. I'm not going to say I'm right and you're wrong. I'm not going to say that. I'm just having an opinion. I'm just telling you what I'm feeling. I didn't like it. It's embarrassing. You're debuting in Australia and you can't get the stuff right. I mean, come on. Now I don't. I hate to compare companies, but look at WWE when they do international events and what they do. You don't have a strong live event team. You don't have a strong production team. You don't have anything. Your stuff is all over the place. You're not organized. Good evening, ballet dancer. How's it going? Hit the like button, everyone. Thank you. So I don't want you all to hate me because I have an opinion. I have an opinion, and I have a platform, and the thing is that on this platform, on this mothership, I have an opinion. I didn't like some of the things that happened behind the scenes with Tony Khan. I didn't like it. As a fan, I was embarrassed for him. I was embarrassed because this is the first time you've been in Australia and you couldn't get the logistics right. You couldn't get the anything right that you did. So I don't want anybody to come at me and tell me, this, that, and the other. I understand that everyone has an opinion, and I get it. And like I said, I'm not trampling on your thought process. If you think differently than me, then that's fine. That's fine. I'll take it for what it is. I'll take it. We agree to disagree. I just didn't like what Tony Khan did. I just didn't. It didn't look good. You couldn't barely fit the ring skirt around the ring because it was so small. You didn't have a good bell system. You didn't have the ring correct. I mean, it was a mess. The behind the scenes stuff with Tony Khan, that was a hot mess. I'm sorry, it was a hot mess. So, but again, I agree with Booker T here. I agree. They have to fix it. You have to fix it. You can't keep going on like this. It's just not. It's all right. Let's move on. Um. Okay. So let's talk about Jay Cargill for a second. All right. Jay Cargill's return to the WWE SmackDown seems inevitable. Following the events of the show's last episode, the Blue Brand's Nick Aldis showed a footage tonight revealing Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez as Cargill's alleged attackers. There are many ways that WWE could bring back Cargill to the screen. She could join the SmackDown or Raw brand following her return. Jade could return to attack Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. So that's one scenario that could happen. Cargill could return to WWE Raw to take revenge on Liv and Raquel for joining Rhea Ripley, for injuring Rhea Ripley, excuse me. She might take both women down and possibly team up with Ripley. This move could shift Cargill to Raw, allowing her to work alongside with Ripley even before eventually feuding with her. Meanwhile, Bianca Belair and Naomi could continue their tag team run on SmackDown. So that's one scenario that they could do with Jade Cargill. Okay. Here comes scenario number two. Naomi could be in trouble when the storm returns. Jade Cargill could return to WWE and reveal that Naomi attacked her. No, Naomi attacked her to take her spot in the tag team and title picture. This could spark a rivalry with Bianca Belair defending Naomi. Cargill might interfere in the women's elimination chamber match, costing both women and setting up a feud on SmackDown. Well, that's scenario number two. And everyone is going with scenario number two. That it wasn't Bianca. I mean it wasn't Liv. It wasn't Liv and Raquel that attacked Jade. There's there the fans are going with scenario number two. That it was indeed Naomi who attacked her and wanted to step into the spotlight of Jade and get that tag team title around her waist. So that is what everyone is saying. I mean, that could possibly happen. That it could be revealed that she was the attacker. Do I like that scenario? I, I don't have a problem with it. To be honest with you. And then she goes into the elimination chamber. She wipes them both out. Um, like I said, I don't have a problem with it. And I think scenario number two would work too. I think scenario would work because here's the thing. Here's the thing. Here's a question I want to know. If it was Raquel and Liv, what was the reason behind that? See what I mean? If you went with scenario number one, What purpose would that serve? Why would Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez attack Jade for what? For what? I know that they wanted to become women's tag team champions, but but to take Jade out and but then Jade wouldn't be able to defend the title. So that don't work. That doesn't work. What does work is Naomi. Now Naomi could be jealous of Jade. You can go with that route. She could be jealous of Jade, and she was tired of Jade taking up all the time of Bianca. And then she confronted Jade and then attacked her. See, that works. See what I just said? That works. That to me seems more logical than the first scenario. Because of the second scenario works chef's kiss perfectly. It works. It works. It works. Trust me, it works. So I'm going to, based upon what I just said, I'm going with scenario number two. And that's how you build it off. That's how you do it. You play the card of she was jealous, and then you took all the time away from her, and she didn't have a friend now, and now she wanted to solidify herself. She wanted to make sure that she was the one that was always in the spotlight, and then she confronted you. Yeah, see that all of that works. All of that works. That would make my heart grow fonder. That would make my heart grow fonder. So that I think you should go with that scenario. Go with that scenario. Go with that scenario and then work with it from there. I'm telling you from my heart of hearts, that works. That works. Now I don't know how you all feel about it, but to me, to me it works. All right. So that is the story on Jade Cargill. So so let's talk about Dynamite. All right, let's talk about AEW Dynamite. Last night, AEW Dynamite took place in Phoenix, Arizona, where it was announced that AEW is returning is returning to Arizona this May for Double or Nothing. So Double or Nothing is moving from Las Vegas to Phoenix. Diamond Desert Arena will host Double or Nothing this coming May, Sunday, May the 25th, Memorial Day weekend. I don't have a problem with it. Nope. Don't have a problem with it whatsoever. This is great news. This means that Tony Khan is thinking about taking Double or Nothing and moving it from Vegas to Arizona. What's next? Is I hope that he will move it around to a different states and arenas because that would be good. That'll be a good thing for Double or Nothing. But Arizona is getting Double or Nothing this year. I don't have a problem with it. The matches were good last night. The matches were solid. The matches were fine for what it was. The Death Riders again showing their ugly face against Adam Copeland. Adam Copeland wants a piece of John Moxley, and they're going to mix it up at the Revolution on March the 9th. And speaking of Revolution, there's no build for this Revolution so far. There's no build. And we're only a couple of weeks away, and they're still dragging their foot on what matches are you going to see at Revolution. Now Revolution is taking place on March the 9th, right after the Elimination Chamber, because the Elimination Chamber is on March 1st. Revolution is going to be on March the 9th. That is the first pay-per-view offering of AEW is Revolution. And again, like I said before, saying there is no build. There's no build to this pay-per-view. This is no bueno with the pay-per-view and the build. So next week on the Wrestling Experience, I'm going to talk more about Revolution. I'm going to talk about the build. I'm going to talk about everything else. As we get closer and closer to that, we're going to do some predictions on that. But so far, okay, here are some of the matches you're going to see. First of all, Adam Copeland is going to take on John Moxley for the AEW title. All right. Takeshita will defend the International Championship at Revolution against who? We're going to find that out next week on Dynamite. Find that out next week. Hangman Adam Page will go one-on-one with MJF. So the matches itself don't sound too bad. The matches itself doesn't sound too bad. Now, like I said before, Tony Khan has done this before. He has sometimes pay-per-views where there has been zero build, but all of a sudden he turns on the creative switch and gives you a prominent and thought-provoking pay-per-view. Is that what we're going to get here at Revolution? Well, we're going to have to find out and see on March the 9th. It's going to be a very busy March in wrestling for Tony Khan and everybody in WWE land. First of all, we have the Elimination Chamber on March the 1st. That PLE on March the 1st. All right, we got that. Then we've got Revolution on March the 9th. We got that. Then we have Monday Night Raw returning to Madison Square Garden on Monday night, March the 10th. We got that going on Monday night. Then the next night, just 24 hours from then, we have NXT Deadlock, and that will take place in the theater in Madison Square Garden, right downstairs in the theater in Madison Square Garden on Tuesday night, March 11th. So we got all of that going on the first full week of March. All of that going on. All of that wrestling action for you. If you live in the New York City market. Now I've seen NXT in the theater in the Garden. It was great. Um, Glorious Bobby Roode was on the card that time, and everything else. It was fun. It was fun. NXT took over the theater in Madison Square. It's a nice venue for it. It's a nice venue. And I think everybody who goes to the show, now I won't be able to attend the show because I have to work the next day. But I I think the show is going to be great. I think the show is going to be fabulous. I think you all should check it out. If you're going in person, I suggest you go because it's going to be a fun night. It's just going to be a great night of wrestling. I'm going to be attending Monday Night Raw on Monday night, March the 10th. I'll be in the garden for that. I'll be in the garden for that, but I can't do NXT. I would love to, but I can't do it. But I'm quite sure if you all go down to the garden and you get your tickets down, which is available through Ticketmaster, you can absolutely have a fun evening of NXT wrestling. NXT is not what it used to be. It's getting better and better. Their pay per view, their PLE last week, the Vengeance Day, I thought that was solid. I thought that was some good stuff from NXT. And they're getting ready for Stand and Deliver. They're getting ready, which will take place in the T-Mobile Arena in downtown Las Vegas, Nevada. WWE is taking over the T-Mobile Arena in Vegas for the WrestleMania weekend, and I don't have a problem with it. I don't. Stand and Deliver was a lot of fun. Last year, Stand and Deliver drew a big crowd of 16,000 inside the Wells Fargo Center, and it was a good time by all. NXT really showed their prominence, and we had fun with that PLE. We really did. And then we went right over to the stadium for night number one of WrestleMania. So if you are going to attend WrestleMania weekend, you're going to have a lot of fun because once Stand and Deliver is over, you could take the car and go right over to Allegiant Stadium and get to your seats for night number one of WrestleMania. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be a great weekend. It's a lot of wrestling. It's a lot to do. It's a lot to plan. WrestleMania is nothing like it. And the weekend is gonna be nothing like it. It's Easter weekend. And it's gonna be great in Vegas. It's gonna be great. So if you like wrestling, if you like long weekends, this is for you. This is for you. This is gonna be great. Um, so that's it for Dynamite. Dynamite, like I said, was good. Getting back to Dynamite, Dynamite was good last night. A solid show, good stuff all around. Like I said, but again, no build for the Revolution. We're gonna see. We're gonna get more matches maybe announced next week for Revolution as we get closer and closer to the go home show. And yeah, so that's what's gonna happen with Revolution and AEW Dynamite. Let me see. Let's see here. Um, I'm looking into something, folks. Give me 1 second. So the go home show for AEW would be on March the 5th. We're gonna see what happens there. All right. So yeah, so um we talked about Dynamite. Okay. We talked about Dynamite. And we also talked about a couple of wrestling news that I brought out to you tonight. Talked about that. So I really don't have anything else to add here tonight to the wrestling experience. Only to tell you, only to tell you that I'm going to give you a broadcast note. I'm going to be back on 24 hours from now, and I'm going to bring you Friday Night SmackDown. Friday Night SmackDown will be live tomorrow night on the USA Network as the 3 hour telecast of Friday Night SmackDown continues. And it's going to be a whale of a show. We're going to talk about the Elimination Chamber. We're going to talk about everything else and the build for the Elimination Chamber. So far, we've got 3 matches set for the Elimination Chamber. We have the Women's Elimination Chamber. We have the Men's Elimination Chamber featuring John Cena. And then we have the unsanctioned match. The unsanctioned match will happen between Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. WWE doesn't want to touch none of it, and they're not going to get involved in this. So it's unsanctioned by WWE. This is going to be a war, to say none the least, with Zayn and Owens inside the ring. So we have to see what happens with Friday Night SmackDown and what other matches you will see. I think possibly last week they teased that Trish Stratus wanted to team up with Tiffany Stratton. So Tiffany Stratton and of course Trish Stratus want to take on of course Nia Jax and of course her protege there. So I don't know if that's going to happen, but I could see it. It'll be Nia Jax and Candice LeRae taking on, yeah, it'll be Tiffany Stratton and, of course, Trish Stratus taking on Candice LeRae and Nia Jax in a tag team match at an Elimination Chamber. I could see that happen because they did tease that last week, and I'm not sure if Nick Aldis is going to pull the trigger, if the WWE is going to pull the trigger or not, but Trisha said that she would be in Toronto, so it only makes sense that she would team up with Tiffany Stratton, and they go after Nia, and of course Candice LeRae. So we're gonna have to see if that match comes to fruition. But so far we have 3 matches signed to the Elimination Chamber. Now, the Elimination Chamber is going to happen on March the 1st, as I said, in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, at the Rogers Center, home of the Toronto Blue Jays. Now, if you all didn't remember, the Rogers Center used to be called the Sky Dome, and that is where they hosted WrestleMania, the the Ultimate Challenge. It was Hulk Hogan taking on the Ultimate Warrior in front of 67,000 people in the Sky Dome. And it was great. The late Mary Tyler Moore was in the audience and she had the money in the front row. And yeah, it was a great time. It was the first time that WrestleMania was broadcast outside of the United States, and it was beamed from Toronto, and it was great. Like I said, 67,000 plus jammed the Sky Dome and saw the Ultimate Challenge. So that was the last time. That was the very last time that arena hosted a PLE. And this time they're going to do it again with the Elimination Chamber. So that again, like I said, it's going to be great. It's going to be great. Um, it's going to be great. We're just a week away from the Elimination Chamber. And I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to do it. I can't wait to see it. It's going to be a lot of fun. So, folks, that's going to do it for the wrestling experience. That's going to do it. It is going to do it. I hope everybody have a great Thursday. I hope you enjoy yourself. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. I hope you're safe. I hope you're warm. I hope you're enjoying life. And don't forget, everyone, life is short. Don't forget that, folks. Life is short. You've got to live your life and get out and enjoy the world and experience it. No pun intended. And of course, you got to go out there and make a difference in this world. Do something. Make a difference. Volunteer yourself. Sit down with a friend and giggle for once in your life. Do something. Do something. Enjoy it. Embrace it. Love it. Hug it. You got to do it, folks. You just got to do it. If you keep it where it is. Like I said, tomorrow night, as I said before, I'll be back in cyberspace. I'll be back in cyberspace with the with Friday Night SmackDown. We're gonna do it. I'll be on the air at 7:50 for Friday Night SmackDown. Should be a fun time by all. Should be a fun time by all. But ladies and gentlemen, like I said, that's gonna do it for me for the wrestling experience. I want to thank you all so much for watching tonight. It's been a pleasure talking to you, talking to wrestling, giving you my thoughts, my views on what's going on in this world of wrestling. And as I said before, I'll say it again. I'm going to be back in just 24 hours with Friday Night SmackDown. We're going to have fun tomorrow night. I'm going to crunkify that telecast. I hope you'll join me for Friday Night SmackDown. So until then, everyone, have a great rest of your Thursday evening. And please stay safe out there. Enjoy your weekend. And I'll be back on Friday night with Friday Night SmackDown. Until then, everyone, I'm Earl Cole. Enjoy the rest of your evening, everyone, and thank you for watching The Wrestling Experience.